Hello, my loves, or my little baby chickens. Welcome to your reading. Right away, there is heavy subconscious themes going on here. You could be in what seems like a very deep integration phase. You'll know based on the intensity of your dreams if that resonates with you. Basically, from what I'm seeing here is your psyche is in a deep release phase. So just for your reference, when you feel you're having crazy dreams, you're actually very deep in a healing process. And this happens in layers and different phases in your life. And so something inside of you right now is being purged. It is being deeply integrated. This isn't a consistent thing. This happens in waves, I would say, especially for my collective. So if you feel like you're having crazy dreams, be sure to look at my description. I will type out some love notes for you. Just to explain this a little bit more, because it's coming through that I need to give more context. The subconscious does simulations. Let's just think of it in that way. It's easier to put a name to it there. It will basically, in your dreams, simulate experiences in really odd, perplexing ways to see what you'll do in your dream reality. It's basically testing you, but in your own mind. And that's how things integrate. That's how things are released with your psyche. That's how things are healed, is through all these like weird simulations of reality in abstract ways, and then seeing how you respond to them in your dream state. I say that, and I give all this context because this is very important right now. Things are being purged that you have locked deep within. And it's related to these very odd dreams that you might be having right now. They're like popping up and asking you to release. And something that's very significant about this is if you're remembering your dreams throughout the day, you know, like how sometimes you have a dream and then you forget immediately and it just doesn't even come back up again. These are specific sticky dreams that you're having where like you'll remember the emotion of your dream in your conscious waking life. And that's very important to who I'm channeling for today. Similarly, a lot of déjà vu could be happening at this time for you. Just a lot of like weird things that are coming together that you can't really put a name to. That's who's coming to mind the strongest right now. Apart from this really deep subconscious psyche work that seems to be the main thread here, there seems to be a strong connection that comes through. So whatever you're releasing is kind of intertwined with this separate thing, the separate connection. And I think there are some messages here about someone preparing something for you, is what it looks like. Preparation, rehearsal. These are very important. This other thing apart from you is preparing, is rehearsing, and it's outside of you. That's clear. But there's a specific subset of people listening to that might have a reaction to me saying that. If you don't want to hear about a person and you're more interested in internal messaging, not external ones, there's a message here for you as well. So don't leave. There's an important message for you encompassed in this. And sometimes messages can only be communicated through an external thing, through an attachment, even if you don't want to hear about that. So it feels important I say this to you is like you could be turned off by me presenting it through a person, but it's often the most healing that is done through a deep connection, through a mirror that we would like to forget. So 2 parts here. 1, those very interested, this is your message. If you're interested in this external thing, this connection, what they're preparing, what they're rehearsing for you. And then the second, people who don't want to hear about it, also for you. Stick around if you're curious about what is being prepared and what is really being deeply integrated with you and why. My chickens, something you are doing right now is not working. And I'm sorry if you hate the absurd nicknames. Just let me have this, okay? Something you're doing is not working. I don't know what it is. Very random. I don't see it being directly connected to the message. But there is the energy of doing something that temporarily had an important purpose for you and no longer fits in your life, but you're what looks like you're trying to fit it because it serves such a massive purpose for you. It was this reliable thing that you counted on in some way, but it's not serving the same purpose anymore. And it's like trying to fit a circle into a square right now. Something is just not working. And this could be many things, like a hobby, an old friend, a job, some sort of skill you have that you keep trying to make work because it worked in the past, but it's weirdly not now, and you're aware of it. But it's almost looking like you're playing it off as like a growing pain or a rough patch that you just have to get through, and then it will come back and be reliable again. But it looks like Spirit's nudging you to look at this inability to fit as actually you growing past this thing and asking you to shift onto the next thing, even though you want to hold on to it. Whatever this is for you, it doesn't look like it's specific. That just came through very strongly. It might not fit with everyone, but definitely there's a few here that are trying to make something fit that can't anymore. So anyway, back to this connection. First off, wow, there is a lot of emotion here. There is a lot of history. It looks like intensity comes through at the forefront. You could have felt this connection, or what this connection did to you was more intense than anything else has really touched within you. I don't know why, but in a lot of the readings recently, Spirit keeps drawing attachment styles and deeper psychology to readings. And I really think it's because there's such deep psyche and subconscious work going on in the collective that it's almost necessary to point at the threads of what's going on that deeper level, especially as you continue to purge these subconscious integrations in your dreams, if that resonated with you. So whoever this is for, it seems this other separate connection, this person, they had a polar opposite style of attachment, which might not surprise you, okay? We all know the cliche, anxious and avoidant, all right? This isn't our first rodeo. But there is something here that's a little deeper than that wants your attention today. So stay with me here. There's two styles here that I see very clearly. And I can only refer to it as what looks like a bonding style, like how you bond, not necessarily an attachment style. It's somewhat of a difference here. And the difference here is two people and how they share intimacy, not how they attach necessarily. That's the difference. So one of you, and it's not clear which one, likes deep conversations that basically reflect in what looks like the past, in what looks like experiences that have already happened. And that's how this side bonds. That's how this side connects. While the other side of this connection bonds in real time, in the current time, in the now. This side needs difficult real-time moments to see the person for who they are, to see how they respond in the current present time. Okay, so two bonding styles, but one side needs a past reflection and the other side needs a real-time reflection. And I guess in other words is like one side needs the reality to show in front of them right now and keep affirming that. And the other side needs a constant confirmation of the past version of you. It's not clear which one you are. And usually when I have readings, I can tell who I'm channeling for. They come through stronger. But I think it's purposeful that they're both neutral. I think it's wanting me to talk about them both equally, not make an assumption of which one you are. But the distinction between them is important. And so after we really discuss these two types of bonding styles, I think we can really get into what's coming up for you and what is being prepared for you and why it's important you understand which bonding style you have, because they're deeply intertwined in some important way here. Okay, so to summarize, here's what we have. We have two types of bonding styles, not attachment styles, bonding styles, very different. And I'm supposed to emphasize that it's different. One part of this connection bonds in the past, in reflection, and the other side of this connection bonds in real time, in the present. The real-time side here, the present side here, the current reality side here, they really struggle in what looks like connections and forming connections, because it looks like they have to stay somewhat hypervigilant to reality to assess what's going on in the now, whereas the reflection bonding side kind of gets to coast or think in retrospect. They get to kind of like go at their own pace. They get to be calm about it. So one is much more anticipating and anticipatory, and the other one is much calmer and goes at their own pace and decides when they're ready to reflect. Does that make sense? It's almost like one has to adapt to real time and reality, and the other one can just go at their own pace, at their own speed. And there's nothing wrong with either side of this. Both are doing something similar, just in different timings, different timelines. And the important thing that I emphasize here is it leads to an imbalance energetically, not necessarily that one is right or wrong. It seems like the person in the current space, in the present, is kind of waiting for the other person to catch up, but they never kind of meet in the same space together energetically. And this is so subtle that you would probably miss it, like miss what's happening in this energy space. And I think the reason Spirit is bringing up this very specific thing that is what I can only describe as a bonding style through energy terms is because it looks like there's a level of consciousness you are beginning to form around how present you are and how there's either that not being returned or there's a gap there. If you're present in past reflection or past accumulation, you may notice people don't want to dig up the past like you. They don't want to talk about what happened historically, right? And so there's kind of like that gap. And if you're present in current reality, you could find that people don't want to share that intensity with you and look at the current reality so deeply. They might want to look at the future. They might want to look at the past. They don't want to be in the now. And so there's a gap here in both awarenesses. And so I see with this reading, attention, just in general as a theme, is very strong here. Your attention is very much the focus of this reading. And I see a lot of threads being pointed at where you are, either in the past trying to dig something up or in the present trying to dig something up. But both of them, you are intensely focusing on something. Your attention is intensely fixated on one of those things. And now you might be thinking, some of you, well, I do both. Well, I don't have an answer for that. I just think right now the contrast is all I'm seeing. And if you're certain that you're doing both, maybe there's parts of each message you can take in that instance. But I am a reader who sees contrast, not necessarily gray areas, nuance. I try to infer nuance, not see nuance. So this message is what looks like drawing a lot of attention towards what you focus on, okay? What side of the coin you're really on. It doesn't have to be all the time, but maybe a majority of time, okay? It's also looking to me like there might be a majority here who are more hypervigilant, so they're more present or current reality focused. And it's showing to me an interesting reframe for your hypervigilance. If you feel like you're overly aware, whether that be in the past or that be in the present, it doesn't really matter. There's a part of this message trying to show it as a strength here because it seems to be often referred to as a weakness. Hypervigilance is like something we're trying to unlearn, right? But it's showing me here that hypervigilance is a strength because it is a direct contrast to hopelessness. For example, those who aren't vigilant, meaning they don't do discovery like you probably do. They aren't coming up with deep, intense reflections. They're not looking for more information. They kind of learned early on that reality is a little bit more hopeless. So why should they try? As where you took on this belief that there is hope. We keep trying. We keep moving. And so there's probably what looks like a misconception here, that there's a problem with scanning or seeking deep information or intensity, as if that's problematic only, but it's actually being challenged here with this reading. This reading is saying your intensity, your hypervigilance, however it manifests for you, however it shows for you, is actually keeping you on the correct path, is actually keeping you on the path of hope. And it's not destructive hope. It's not like hope for the sake of bad hope. It's a path of manifesting and not giving up. It's the kind of hope that keeps you going. And the reason it's clear here that it's a positive is because without this vigilance, without this intensity, I see no real active steps forward. I see kind of like a hopelessness on the other side. And so there's no manifestation when there's no emotional involvement and there's no intensity. And so it's clearly what it is looking like. It's framing your vigilance, your hyperactivity, your intensity, all these things that maybe you can see negatives with. It's framing it as a positive, because it's getting you further in some way. It's moving you towards something. It's keeping you hopeful. And on the other side of that, it's very hopeless. For those of you who feel hypervigilance, for those of you who feel your intensity is problematic, Spirit wants to reframe that today as it's getting you somewhere. It's doing something. It's important. It's not just something you need to unlearn. It's something you need to kind of appreciate. All right. Now I know some of you are keenly interested in the other side, this connection. And some of you maybe aren't. And so you're dreading this part of the message. But there's a lot here about preparation for something. And this could be both sides. You could be preparing for something, but I really see it in the opposite end of this connection. There is a plan. There is a rehearsal of some kind. It's showing me what looks like a shift in this connection. Something is going from hopelessness to hopeful. And that precise hopelessness may have been getting in the way of moving forward in some way. It's not that the hopelessness was wrong, and it's not that the hypervigilance is wrong. Neither side is wrong. It's just clarifying each of those ends. I think both sides can have extremes. Like, for example, the hypervigilance can become problematic. We all know that. If your nervous system never gets to settle and you never get to relax, that's a problem, sure. And on the other end, hopelessness or the lack of hypervigilance could be problematic as well, since we just discussed that. There's an easier resolution to hypervigilance because hypervigilance still has hope, and hopelessness requires a really big shift of finding hope, and finding hope when you're hopeless is very difficult. However, I do see some sort of shift in that regard, and I'm not sure which side of the coin that's on. It could be either of you. I guess it's just the important part of this is like having no hope is not the answer. You don't just give up your hypervigilance and just have no hope. That's not. There's some sort of importance in understanding the balance between these two sides, right? And I think Spirit is wanting you to hope. It's wanting whatever side is hypervigilant to continue to hope and to not think it's something that needs to be necessarily fixed or correct, because I think hypervigilance has a much deeper misconception than the other side. And it's important that that's disrupted today, because we all think of hypervigilance and we're like, okay, that's a problem. But what about the other side? Are we ever like, okay, what about hopelessness? Is that healthy? We don't ever really challenge that. So I think it's challenging this because we inherently think of hypervigilance as a problem and not the other way around. I see this being your hope, or the hypervigilance hope being what helps manifest you into higher realities, even if it is, exhausting you or running you down at certain levels. So going back to this connection, what's happening in the present moment is something has meaningfully shifted. Like I mentioned, it could be leaning into more hope or vice versa. Something is finding equilibrium in the sense of extremes, but the preparation is kind of a result of that. And I see the challenge here being for you, the collective that I'm channeling for, is your response to the sincerity of whatever this preparation is. So this could be like an offer. This could be a rehearsal. An apology is usually what comes through in this kind of energy, but I don't really know directly. It's just, I think what Spirit is pointing at here is no matter how this rehearsal, this apology, whatever this offer is, comes through, it still might not be able to meet you in your bonding style. So the bonding styles that I laid out before, whether that be in the present or past, is an important part of your next chapter. It's going to be where you feel truly met and seen, specifically in whichever one you're in the majority of your life in, whether that be you bond in the present or you bond in the past. It's very, very important you understand which one you are. to be able to move forward in a connection that meets you, whether it be this connection or another one. I'm not sure. So I think the meaningful pause or break in whatever this deep, intense connection was to specifically highlight this bonding style to you, not your attachment style, not how hypervigilant you are, but just having you be able to bring awareness to if you live in the present or past as a way to bond, and to be able to actively see that more clearly when people can't meet that, because there might be a fork in the road upcoming where, someone comes back or someone rehearses something to you, but still can't meet you in the timeline that you're in, whether it be the past or the present. And so it's not about really going back or accepting this apology or accepting this offer or accepting this rehearsal. It is about being mindful of how you bond, of not how you attach, but how you connect, because connection is deeper than attachment. Connection is kind of like ongoing. Attachment could fade or come in waves. I think that that's the distinction here. And so, for example, let me just give an example to ground this. I know it's kind of abstract. If you need someone who, let's say you're a present time bonder, if you need someone who reacts to challenges in real time or responds to conflict in real time to show you who they are, a partner who actively avoids present challenges is never going to fill your cup. Because that's not something that really can be learned. It's something that exists or it doesn't. And so the best I can do for you as a reader is help you name this clearly, because I think this message really wants you to be able to see it clearly. It's very important to the conscious decisions you're making that are coming up, because you are purging on a subconscious level the ways in which you accepted not having this bonding style met in the past, if that makes sense. It's almost like these deep subconscious beliefs that are coming out right now are all about bonding style, are all about how your cup is filled in the current time. And so it's no right or wrong, past, present, future, whatever you do, no right or wrong, hypervigilant, not hypervigilant, no right or wrong. What is important is awareness. What fills your cup? Is it present time? Is it past time? Is it hybrid? But what's the majority? And so I think that that is what your message is today. All right. It's been a while since I asked for nudges. I don't know if some of you noticed that, my regulars, the loves of my life. But I am going to start to request them again. I'm feeling like I am ready to start back up and tell you all that if you felt this reading deeply resonated, the way in which I am able to channel so efficiently is because I have a beautiful collective here who nudges me communicationally. So think of this as just a way to send me your energy to keep getting more efficient and tailored reads specifically to you. Also, it's important to note that it is not like you're waiting in line to be the priority. If you are nudging me, like sending comments, sending emails, whatever, and I'm not really resonating with you, that does not mean I do not feel your energy and that you are not being prioritized. In fact, what it means is it is just not the right time. Messages are all about timing and divine timing, not about who is a priority and who is not. I love you guys so much. Cheers, friends.